Good afternoon, hope you're well. Today's session is going to be about index funds. I'm going to make it quick. I don't want this session to be more than 5 minutes long, so I'm going to make it really quick. Then we could all go away. Happy Sunday. It's about 3 days to the end of the year. Today is the 28th of December 2025. And again, I'm going to speak about index funds. Over the past 3 videos that I've put out, I've spoken about different things that would help you start your investment journey. And I've spoken about diversification, which means that you don't just invest in one type of investment vehicle or asset class, but you invest in different investment vehicles like real estate, index funds, stock shares, crypto, whatever you want to invest in. But the most important thing is that you understand what you're investing in, and the best time to invest is now. So diversification across industries, geographies, asset classes, business areas, and different types of investment vehicles. We spoke about that. We also, I think in the last video, we did a session on dollar cost averaging. And that basically means that you invest regularly throughout the year rather than investing a whole lump sum at the beginning of the year or the end of the year or the middle of the year. It depends on you, but there's benefits to that type of investing. Before we continue, and based on all I've said earlier, none of this is financial advice. It's important that you do your own research before you make a decision on what you're going to work on. And then I think we also spoke about index funds. I shared 2 funds and I explained why index funds would never collapse, because if one company goes out, one company comes in. But again, it's not a fact that it might never collapse, but the idea that there would always be a world economy means that certain index funds would always exist that we have. I also spoke about the fact that when one company moves out, another company comes in. So I'll link those videos up here and then you can have a look. Let's get into today's session. It's about why I invest in index funds. I have a personal pension and then I have a stocks and shares ISA for those of you who are in the UK. And I have a lifetime ISA as well, which is mine, is a stocks and shares lifetime ISA. In both my SIPs, my personal pensions, and my ISAs, I do invest in index funds. During one financial year, for instance, I bought individual stocks. So when I say I only invest in individual funds, I only invest in index funds, what I'm trying to say is about 98% of my portfolio is in index funds and not in individual stocks. I've got individual stocks, but they are basically Toyota Motor Company, the manufacturer of the cars. I've got a bit in Nvidia, and I've got a bit in some water companies and some housing developers within the UK. But again, that's about 2% of my portfolio. The reason why I invest in index funds, and what I normally do is within the index funds, I try to diversify across geographies, across asset classes, and across industries and sectors. So my index funds replicates the world economy, where it's usually set up such that the major economy is the major part of my index funds. So again, none of this is financial advice. So let's say I'll get an index funds that tracks the S&P 500, which is the United States, one that tracks emerging markets, and one that tracks the UK. And I've got a bit of bonds as well. I'm not currently diversified in just Africa, but I've got a bit of emerging markets and international funds. What I've realized is that the international funds holds a significant portion of the United States. Again, it's replicating the world apart from UK, and I've got some Asia within my funds as well. So why invest in index funds? As conjunction or as a follow-up to what I did last time, the video that I shared last time, again, I've linked it up there, is because it's the easiest way for me to diversify. Because even if you want to invest in real estate, you've got real estate index trust, which is called REITs, REITs, and not physical houses, but you can invest in index funds that do that. So it helps me diversify across industries. So within my portfolio, I've got technology, I've got pharmaceuticals, I've got retail, I've got banking and finance, I've got automobiles. So I've got different sectors within my portfolio. I'm also invested across the world. So I'm not only concentrated within the United Kingdom or the United States, or just emerging markets. That's how my portfolio is set up, and that's why I'm invested in index funds. What I have done with my index funds is also, most of them pay dividends, which is great, and then those dividends I kind of reinvest them as they come in. I also invest in index funds because it's easier for me to just put the money in every month and then it's bought every month, rather than doing individual stocks where I may have to set up a limit order or stop limit. And again, if you want me to explain, I can explain that, but I don't have to do that with my index fund. I know you can trade index fund on a day-to-day basis. I don't do it. I invest over the long term. So when I say that I don't have to stop limits, I don't have to set up stop limits and stuff, just put the money in monthly, and then the investment company or the investment house or platform that I'm invested with would then, based on the instruction of setup, will then buy those funds or parts of those funds for me. So again, it's for me, and again, everyone's story is different. For me, it's less risky for me to invest in index funds. I'm well diversified across geographies, asset classes, sectors, industries. I get paid a bit of dividends, and it's just easier for me to do it that way than for me to bother setting up trading over the short or the long term. Again, trading for me is short term investing, but people kind of hold the funds for a bit and then use it. So that's why I invest in index funds. I'd like you, again, homework for today, I'd like you to do a bit of research on index funds and see if they work for you or not. But that's what I do, and yeah, all the best. Hope this was helpful. I'll try and record another video in the same clothes before it goes up. Bye. See ya.